Today I'm going to be comparing these two different fire starters. And this one here is made by Superior Trading Company, and this one is made by Grill Trade. Now this is going to be smaller ones. I actually broke this off. This one's got 144 squares, and they are pretty small. And then this is going to be like extra that kind of peeled off the bottom. So they are going to be relatively small in comparison to these from Superior Trading Company. These are going to be a much larger fire starter than these little squares are. Now both of them, the Grill Trade says that it will last for 8 to 10 minutes. This one from Superior Trading says that it will last for between 10 and 15 minutes of burn time. So I did want to go ahead and compare the two. So I figured the easiest way to do that was to come out here by the fire pit, light them both on fire, and see which ones lasted the longest in comparing them. Now, one thing I did want to mention about these just before getting started, the one from Superior is designed to be waterproof, whereas this one from Grill Trade is not. So if you're wanting something that's waterproof, you have to go with the Superior Trading Company, as theirs are waterproof. Grill Trade ones are not going to be waterproof. Both of them do float in water. I've tested them out here in this bucket I've got, and both of them do float, and I can show you that here in a second before I even light them, but both of them will float in the water. But once you leave this one, from Grill Trade, in the water, it will not relight. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. If you need something that can handle being dropped in the water, submerged in water, that sort of thing, then you'll definitely want to go with the ones from Superior Trading Company. So let me go ahead and drop them both in water just to kind of show you what it is. I will have to get a new one to light, because the wet one will not light from Grill Trade, but I can go ahead and use the wet one from Superior just to show you how it works. And then I'll test out and see how long they're both going to last. So I'm just going to chuck both of them here into this bucket of water. Both of them are designed to float, so there's no worry there. You know, if you're crossing a river or something like that and you accidentally drop it in, it's not going, neither of them are going to sink down to the bottom. I believe that's going to be the case with the entire brick as well of these. So let me try that real fast. Yeah, so that is going to float also, so no worries there about it sinking entirely. Even if you have the whole brick and just drop it into the water, it is going to float. And then these are all individual, so you don't have to worry about that individually floating. Now, if this entire bin got dropped in the water, just because of the weight of it, if it is sealed, I'm going to guess that it will sink just because of the way that it's going to work. But it's because it's relatively heavy. They're a lot heavier than these ones from Grill Trade. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave these in here for a couple of minutes, and then I'll test out and show you that the Grill Trade will not light, and the ones from Superior will, since they're designed to be the waterproof. So I let them sit in the water for about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to pull both of them out here and just try and light them. The one from Superior should light without any issue, and the one from the Grill Trader will likely not, as I've tested it in the past, but let's go ahead and see. So I've got my electric lighter here, and I'm going to try this one from Grill Trade, not Trader, first. And as you can see, it just kind of smolders a little bit and doesn't really light, because it's been in that water. So it's not designed to be waterproof. I imagine that, so we can get a little tiny flame and then it flames out. I imagine that if I let this dry out, it would light. Now this is the one from Superior Trading Company. And again, I'm just gonna kind of get in there, find a loose spot. And on this one, you kind of have to find like a top piece to light, especially if you're using an electric lighter like I am. And that's especially if it's going to be wet and directly out of the water. So I'm just going to kind of find a corner here to get it onto. So my electric lighter actually ran out of battery, so I had to stop there and start all over. Both of these are going to still be the same ones. So I'm just going to show you that here. You can see that this one's still not going to light because it's the wet one. And this is also the wet one as well. So again, I'm just going to kind of get onto a spot here with it. And you can try anything that's kind of loose. And I'll had it there for a second. When this is actively wet, looks like it's starting. When this is actively wet, it's a little bit harder to start than a dry one. I'll show you that here in a minute. But you can see that it has started up and went back out. So it just started a smidge and then went out. So let me go ahead and just kind of show you what it looks like for a dry one on both of these. So the dry ones here are in the front, the wet ones in the back. Let me just show you how easy this is to light when it's dry. Again, with an electric lighter, nothing really lights the easiest in the world. It is definitely a lot easier if you have a flame. But you can see there that that one got going pretty quick. And then same thing on this one. And again, it just lit right up. So I am going to start a stopwatch here on my watch to get an exact time and see how long each of these last. I also did want to show you this wet one from an actual flame, how easy it will light. So I'm just going to kind of put that right in there. See if I can do it without burning myself. And you can see that that lit there on the top as well. So again, it's just with the electric lighter, it's not as easy to light when it is from wet. But I'm going to go ahead and see how long each of these are going to last. I've got the timer or stopwatch there started on my watch. So we'll see how long this one from Superior Trading lasts, and then how long this one from Grill Trade lasts as well. One last thing I did want to mention, if you can get the one lit that is actively wet from Superior, again, with a regular lighter it'll be easy, with an electric one not so much, but if you can get it lit, it actually, being wet actually caused it to last longer because the flame stays much smaller at the very beginning. So you can see here, both of these were lit about the same time, and how much bigger the flame is on that one from Superior than that one in the back from Superior. Because it's wet, it takes it a while for the flame to get bigger on it because of that water that's on top that it kind of has to work around, has to cause to evaporate off. So if you're looking to make one of these last as long as possible, getting one wet first will actually make this one from Superior last longer than if you just light it dry. That wet one from Grill Trade, I went ahead and kept it on that flame for a second, and I actually was able to get it to light up also. So even just letting it dry out for a couple of minutes, it will still work even though it's wet. So that's a great option from Grill Trade as well. Although they're not designed to be quote unquote waterproof, they do still work. You can let them dry out a little bit, and then if you can get them in a little bit of a flame, they will still light up for you and burn. While all four of these are still burning, I did want to compare the actual size of the flame. So you can see this one from Superior Trading has an extremely large flame in comparison to any of these other three. Now again, the one in the back from Superior Trading is the one that's wet, so the flame will get bigger on that as the remainder of the water gets out of there. This one is the wet one here, the one that's right on top of that concrete block, and it's got a decent sized flame, but certainly not near as big as the one from Superior. And then that one down there was a dry one, again a much smaller flame. So if you're looking for the largest flame, these fire starters from Superior Trading Company are definitely much larger. Now at current, it has been a little over 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 45 seconds, and all four of these are still burning strong. I'll be back with you once one of them burns out. So it's been 8 minutes and 54 seconds, and the one from Grill Trade down here that was dry has burnt entirely out. Still a little bit of smoke coming from it, but no more flames. Now the one that was wet, you can see still does have some flames with it, and it was started a little bit later, so that is to be kind of expected, but you can see just smoke coming from that dry one from Grill Trade. Both of these, the wet and the dry, are still going strong. The wet one actually has a lot more left, and the flame is about the same size now as the dry one. So I'm going to keep this stopwatch going here, and we'll see how long these ones from Superior Trading Company will last in comparison to the ones from Grill Trade. So been about 20 minutes, a little over, and as you can see, that front one is now just smoking. So this Superior Trading Company fire starter, the dry one lasted 20 minutes, whereas the dry one on this Grill Trade only lasted about 8 minutes. So if you're looking for something that lasts a long time, this one from Superior is definitely the way to go. Also, it being waterproof is a great option. Again, was able to easily start it. That one that was in the water and was actually soaked in water, because of how much slower it got down to start, it is still going even after that 20 minutes. So when comparing these two, truthfully, the Superior Trading Company, in my opinion, is the better product because it's waterproof like that, because it lasts so much longer. You get a little, almost 3 times as many in Grill Trade. However, because they're going to be much smaller, they're not going to last very long at all, and then not being waterproof, overall, I definitely do like these from Superior Trading Company a bit better.